last week.
Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Phil Welker. You are listening to episode 215 or 216. I'm going to have somebody check on that right now. In the meantime, today is Sunday, November 1st. October came and went. We're just one day removed from Halloween. Hope everybody had a fun and safe Halloween. I hope everybody has an even safer election day on Tuesday. I know there's a lot of animosity out there, but, get out there and vote if you want to. I'm not going to cram it down your throat. I don't honestly give a shit. It's your right to vote, and you can choose to exercise it or not. I did. If that sways your opinion at all, went out and voted early because I don't like standing online, so I just dropped my ballot off. Did my part as an American citizen, and if you want to do the same, go ahead or don't. It doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what does matter. I am joined all the way from New Jersey by the Halloween kid himself, Jeff, the animal, Wilson. Jeff, how are you feeling on this post-Halloween, still morning turning into afternoon, my friend?
Bill, I feel awesome. My ballot's filled out to vote. I just got to go drop it off, so I'll do that first thing tomorrow morning because I have the whole week off this week coming up, Bill. So I'm excited. Went to a Halloween party yesterday, which was pretty fun. We did trivia night, and Bill, one of the questions was cheers. It was which
I
of
hope
these
you got it right.
Bill, I had to. I mean, I actually did pretty well at trivia night. I was surprised, but yeah, that cheers question, I killed it.
What
I
was
think
the question? Let me see if I know.
so. The question was, which of the following characters were on the show Cheers? And I looked at everybody and I was like, you guys are screwed. This was my favorite TV show. So it was Rebecca Howe, Cliff Clavin, and Sam Malone. So Bill, obviously the answer was D, all of the above.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How could you not know that?
Yeah,
That's what I'd
exactly.
like to know. Anyway, quick shout out to our sponsors, Team Reaper. They make our awesome t-shirts, which I happen to be wearing right now, and hoodies. It's starting to get cold outside for a lot of you, not for me. But they do make hoodies. You can get those at reaper1.co. As always, I'll put the link in the show notes so you guys can go check that out. And speaking of Halloween, Jeff, you may notice looking back at you is a bit of a bare face. Yeah, you're seeing more of my face than normal. And that's because I had to hack the beard off for my Halloween costume. I went as Wreck-It Ralph this year, the Disney or Pixar movie, one of those things. Actually, a pretty good movie, one of my daughter's favorites. So she went as, I was Wreck-It Ralph, she was Fix-It Felix, for those familiar with the movie. If you're not familiar with the movie, it's probably because you don't have kids or nieces or nephews or anything. So shaved off the beard, Jeff, just in time to take a road trip up into the mountains where it's going to be like 30 degrees at night, and I will be missing my beard greatly. But I got to have some awesome Halloween memories with my daughter. This was the first year where she was like aware of like what trick-or-treating was. And it was an interesting experience because we went to like a little block party around here and then trick-or-treated on the way home, walking home. And people mostly just like put out tables at the end of their driveway with like a bucket of candy, or they put them in little individual bags, trying to get creative because of the pandemic and everything like that. One lady put a clothesline between two trees and had clothespins holding like little bags of popcorn.
Nice.
I thought that was a creative one. But my daughter had a blast. She loved getting dressed up. She loves like creepy Halloween stuff. So she likes all the decorations and skeletons and everything like that. So we had a really good time. And the wife dressed up as Vanellope, which is another character from the show. So if you haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph, check it out. It's a cute movie. Even if you don't have kids, it's a good watch, I think, if you have nothing better to do. Yeah, so I think that about wraps up Halloween, Jeff. It's a little early in the day, so I'm sipping on a green smoothie where I would normally be sipping on something, much more preferable. But I got this smoothie from this place called Clean Juice. It's actually a chain, and TJ Dillashaw is a franchise owner of a location in Colorado. Ironically enough, TJ Dillashaw is a franchise owner of a store called Clean Juice, which you gotta admire the irony in that. But yeah, I just got a workout in, having my green juice. There's like spinach and banana and hemp protein, coconut water, other healthy stuff in here. I don't only drink alcohol. Contrary to what it may seem like on the show, I actually do lead a pretty healthy lifestyle, and consume my liquid calories on the weekend. We got American 989 on the show. Always look forward to the show. I appreciate that. We look forward to you listening. Yeah, so that's that, Jeff. You want to talk some MMA, or you got any other loose ends you want to tie up?
No, let's jump right in, dude.
All right, I'm enjoying my green smoothie here while I talk. Got to, replenish the muscles and everything like that. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it sounds right. All right, so UFC Fight Night 181 back in Vegas. Fight Island is over for now. At the Apex, I said last week that Anderson Silva was very clear that this is going to be his last fight in the UFC. And then his manager came out and basically said as much. He's like, yeah, he's not going to fight in the UFC anymore, but he's not done. And it was funny because in the post-fight interview, Bisping asked him, like, was this your last MMA fight? He was like, I don't know. But he's been very adamant about saying it's his last fight in the UFC. So I don't know if he's going to get a few more somewhere free of USADA or something like that. But that guy could go do whatever he wants. I mean, he's a legend. If he's not ready to hang it up, I guess it's fine. But I don't have any desire to ever see him fight again, Jeff, especially after last night. And it's not like he wasn't competitive. I thought he was winning the fight. I had rounds 1 and 3 scored for Anderson Silva cleanly, until he came rushing forward and got caught with that counter shot by Uriah Hall, and then Hall put him away. Let me hear your thoughts on this one, Jeff, because I know you didn't catch a whole lot of the card, so I don't want to trample on your thoughts here.
Bill, everything that I told you I was worried about last week happened. I was worried about Uriah Hall's power, man. I was worried about Silva being up there in years. And, Silva looked a little bit slower, especially in that third and fourth round. And you got to appreciate Uriah Hall being respectful in those first 2 rounds. But, at the end of that third round, when he caught that overhand right, and then in the fourth round, when he caught it again, you knew it was going to be bad. And, Uriah Hall, I love the respect at the end. He's crying. It reminded me of that one WrestleMania. I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it was like 21 or 22 or something, when Shawn Michaels super kicked Ric Flair into retirement and obscurity. And right before he did it, he looked at him and he said, and he mouthed, "I love you" to him, and then proceeded to kick his head off with Sweet Chin Music. But Bill, that's what this reminded me of. Uriah Hall being so respectful at the end, telling Anderson Silva how much he's looked up to him over the years. You could tell Uriah Hall felt awful to have to do that to Anderson Silva. And I didn't want my last memory of Anderson Silva to be him getting knocked out, which unfortunately is what happened. I'm still going to remember all the good times, when he knocked out Forrest Griffin while he was backing up himself. The time he kicked Vitor Belfort's nose clear into the atmosphere. But yeah, dude, I'll always have a deep love for Anderson Silva. A very inspirational fighter for me. He's one of the reasons I even got into jiu-jitsu. So huge respect for the Spider. But you also I didn't like seeing him go out like that either.
Yeah, and who knows if he's done. I have a feeling he'll continue to compete. I would just hate to see him kind of tarnish the legacy. And I don't want to say he's at the point of like a BJ Penn, but if you look at his last 9 fights, he only won 2 of them. One of them was a controversial decision over Derek Brunson, which, 90% of people think Brunson should have won that decision. And the other one was the win over Nick Diaz, which got overturned because he tested positive for steroids. So he just hasn't been the same ever since breaking his leg against Chris Weidman. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. But on a scale of 0 to BJ Penn, how much do you feel like he's tarnishing his legacy by continuing to fight?
I think if he calls it after this Uriah Hall fight, I think it's fine. But as long as he's not retiring every 3 years, I think we're cool. BJ Penn, retires every 7 to 8 months. So
yeah, and I talk about that. I try to say that with the utmost respect, because I have Anderson Silva in my top 3 greatest of all time, and I don't think there's anything that can move him out of there. For me, BJ Penn has probably moved out of my top 10. Probably after he lost that fight to the bouncer at the strip club. I think that's when I officially took him out. But he was competitive against Adesanya, who's the champ now. Went the distance with him. One of those losses was to Daniel Cormier. He stepped up to 205 to take that last minute. Cormier, who's fought at heavyweight. And then the other side of the coin, because I mentioned that, he should have lost the decision to Derek Brunson. He had the fight with Michael Bisping where he should have won the decision, in my opinion. And before that, he was, one of the most dominant champions of all time. I mean, it was insane. For those who don't remember, like the prime Anderson Silva years, this guy was like from another planet, and he would take any fight. That's why I have the utmost respect for Anderson Silva. He was the champ at 185. He would move up to 205 for non-title fights, against Forrest Griffin, against James Irvin. Like, yeah, whatever. I'll do it. Let's go. The only thing he wouldn't do was fight for the title at 205 because his teammate Lyoto Machida was a champ there, or was a contender there at any given moment, and he said that was Lyoto's division, so he wouldn't do that. But if it weren't for that, he probably would have been the champ at 205 at some point in his career too. Just an all-time phenomenal fighter. Great performance by Uriah Hall. What we saw in the beginning was what I thought would be his downfall, was that he froze being in there with Anderson Silva, especially in that first round. They just kind of circled each other for 2 minutes. And Uriah Hall didn't really know what to do. And when Anderson started doing all the tricky, flashy stuff, you could tell the moments where Uriah Hall was like, oh shit, I'm in here with Anderson Silva. And I knew that this was Uriah Hall's fight to lose. The only way he was going to lose this fight was if he got inside his own head. And that's what happened for those first few rounds. But man, once Anderson let his guard down and just came flying in, it really woke up Uriah Hall, and he was able to finish the fight. So credit to him. I mean, finishing Anderson Silva at any point in his career is an impressive feat, especially in a main event, especially under these circumstances with the pandemic, fighting at the apex and stuff like that. So credit to Uriah Hall. I hope he gets a top contender next. Uriah Hall, Jared Cannonier might be fun. Cannonier coming off a loss, but it was in a number 1 contender fight. So that would be fun. I would love to see Uriah Hall and Robert Whittaker at some point down the line. Uriah Hall and Darren Till. There's a whole bunch of fun fights for Uriah Hall if you insert him back in the mix. He's in a new team. He's with a new team now, so clean slate, I guess. coming off a big knockout over Anderson Silva. Any other thoughts on this main event, Jeff?
No. Good performance from Uriah Hall. Take nothing away from him. Went out there and did what he had to do. And like you said, man, Silva's legacy is going to stand the test of time, dude. Um, and anybody who watched Silva growing up, dude, like you said, taking light heavyweight fights in between defending the middleweight title. That's when he knocked out Forrest Griffin, was at light heavyweight. So, just an absolute legend, man.
Yeah. I'll never forget the first time I saw Anderson Silva fight. It was in the UFC. He made his debut against Chris Lieben. And Chris Lieben was like, I'm going to break this dude's jaw. And everybody knew Chris Lieben because he was fresh off The Ultimate Fighter. This guy's such a great striker. Who's this guy? This Brazilian guy coming in. He probably only knows jiu-jitsu. Came in and just demolished Chris Lieben. And then not long after that, he fought Rich Franklin for the middleweight championship. And I was such a huge Rich Franklin fan. He's one of the guys who really got me into the sport because he was a teacher. And I was studying to be a teacher at the time. And I just remember like being in awe of what Anderson Silva did to Rich Franklin, who, if Anderson Silva doesn't exist, Rich Franklin goes down as the greatest middleweight of all time. Because he was a very dominant champion, but he just didn't have an answer for Anderson Silva, and nobody would for like years after that. So I hope it's the last time we see him fight because I want to have those memories instead of memories like the one we saw last night. I'm gonna give you a recap of what I saw of the rest of the card, Jeff, and you can chime in with whatever you happen to see. The co-main event, Bryce Mitchell, dominant win over Andre Fili for the most part. I gave him a 10-8 round in that first round because his grappling was just so controlling. He was passing Fili's guard, took him down easily, mounted him easily. Submission attempt after submission attempt. Credit to Fili for hanging in there, but he was completely dominated in that first round. Came back, though. The second round was a little closer because Bryce Mitchell had so much success on the ground. He started shooting for his takedowns from way too far out. He was shooting for doubles from across the cage, whereas in the first round, he was in close proximity and snatching up single legs and transitioning chain wrestling against the cage very creatively, and that's how he got Fili down. In the second round, they were more like desperation takedowns, but it was a close round on the feet too, but I gave the second round to Fili. And then the third round, Mitchell kind of regained his wrestling and controlled the rest of the fight there. So I had it 29-27 for Bryce Mitchell there, who looked good. He finally got his camouflage shorts. The only thing this guy needs to do is talk a little bit less because he was talking about how, like, if they didn't give me my camo shorts, I was going to just put my job on the line and go out there and wear my camo shorts anyway because I want some camo shorts, and they wouldn't give me no camo shorts, and that's what I wanted was camo shorts. Like, all right, dude. All right.
Oh, man.
We get it. And then at the post-fight press conference, he went on a whole rant about how people shouldn't have to wear masks, and I don't know. Maybe somebody should make him a camo mask. I don't know. I don't know what. It's like I'm all for guys using their platform to talk about whatever they want, but some guys should talk a little less. But fantastic performance nonetheless. Another fantastic performance, Kevin Holland. Man, this guy just fighting like every other week. He's like, yeah, get me back in there, whatever. So he's fighting this guy, Charlie Ontiveros, who was making his UFC debut, stepped up on short notice. I can't recall who he was replacing. But he stung Holland with a couple of good strikes in the beginning, and Holland felt he needed to close the distance. Slammed him twice. On the second one, I guess he landed on his neck wrong or something, and he verbally submitted, did Ontiveros. So it was a hard slam, and a number of things can happen with that, especially if your hands are tied up and you can't break ball properly. You can crack a rib, especially with a 185-pound man falling down on top of you at full force. But what did end up happening was, and they said it wasn't a serious injury. He did have to be carried out on a stretcher, but I guess he just strained a muscle in his neck. And when it's your neck, you never know if it's like sudden pain there. Your immediate thought is like, oh shit, I'm paralyzed.
Yeah.
Especially he said like his body went numb. So that's a scary thing. Luckily, Ontiveros is okay. I did think he looked good, and the fact that he stepped up on short notice to take on a guy like a Kevin Holland really speaks to the type of fighter he is. So I imagine he'll get another opportunity, luckily, after he heals up. Reaction to that, Jeff?
Yeah, I was actually, excuse me, I was able to catch a few highlights right before we started. Just little pieces of each fight, and yeah, dude, that slam looked a little scary because Ontiveros landed hard on the back of his head, so I was worried about that. But man, Ontiveros looked okay until the fight went to the ground. I'm glad he's doing okay because, I heard him tap, and when he started saying his neck, I was like, oh crap, man, like this dude might have, like, a disc might have moved or something. And that's awful. But yeah, dude, glad he's okay. And Bill, this is a guy, Charlie Ontiveros. He actually weighed in like 2 pounds under 185. So this guy is probably more suited for welterweight. Looked a lot smaller than Kevin Holland in there. Was a little emotional. Even walking into the cage, he started getting teary. He started crying like a little baby in front of national television.
He probably just wanted some camo shorts, Jeff. Leave him alone.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, but the Bryce Mitchell interview, I was like, dude, just stop for a second. just you got the fight, man. The whole mask thing, dude, nobody wants to wear these damn things, man. Like, I got to tell my students at least twice a day to, like, put their mask back on. And then I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, I hate these things. Like, the only reason I'm even wearing them is, one, I have to, and two, I got awesome designs by at Marcella Gifts. So,
yeah, I was going to say, Jeff, I don't want to wear them, and I make money off of them. The fact that they're mandatory actually benefits me, and I don't want to wear it. But it's that's where we're at right now. We got to keep people safe. We got to worry about our senior citizens and our fellow people. We don't want to get everybody sick, and they're dealing with it all over the world, Jeff. The numbers are, I guess, spiking with this thing everywhere. So, but that's neither here nor there. We don't need to worry about that. Moving right along, Thiago Moises, close decision over Bobby Green. A lot of people thought Bobby Green should have won it because Moises didn't do a lot with the takedowns. I admittedly was kind of tuning in and out of this fight. This is like when I was getting back from trick-or-treating with my daughter, so I didn't catch a lot of it. If you have any thoughts on it, Jeff, we can hit on it or we can move along.
No, I didn't get to catch this one, unfortunately.
All right. Alexander Hernandez looked really good. First round knockout over Chris Gritzmacher. Gritzmacher hasn't been around. We were talking about this last week. He hadn't fought in a couple of years. So, you're getting in there with a guy like Alexander Hernandez. You're not going to want to be shaking any rust off. And unfortunately, he got the rust knocked off. Adrian Yanez, first round head kick over Victor Rodriguez. Jason Witt, second round arm triangle submission over Cole Williams. Dustin Jacoby, TKO over Justin Ledet via leg kicks. And that's only 2 minutes and 38 seconds into the fight. So those must have been some heavy leg kicks. I mean, Dustin Jacoby's a big boy. So I didn't catch that fight, but I kind of want to go back and watch that one. Yeah, he's 6'4", and just big Illinois boy. You don't want to be kicked in the leg too many times by that dude. And he came off the Contender Series after having, he had a run in Titan and a run in Bellator. This guy's been around for a long time. Actually fought in the UFC back in 2012. I'm looking over his record now because I remember seeing him around for a long time. Yeah, and then CFFC, Titan, Bellator, and made his way back to the UFC through the Contender Series. So that's awesome. 32 years old. The guy's been fighting since 2010. So he's a kid when he started fighting. Yeah. And then the last one I want to talk about, Jeff, you may have seen the highlight of this one, Miles Johns, who also came off of the Contender Series. Third round knockout over Kevin Natividad. This was a highlight reel knockout. He was given a performance bonus for it, but here's the thing. It was a big uppercut. They were kind of clinched together, and Natividad tried to separate, and as he did, Miles Johns stepped in with a huge uppercut, sent him flying to the canvas out cold. Here's my issue with it. When you look at the other camera angle, you could see that Miles Johns had his fingers inside of Natividad's glove, and he pulled him into the uppercut. I mean, on the one hand, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. On the other hand, a guy got seriously hurt due to a rules violation. I mean, he got knocked unconscious bad. This is an instance where I wish they maybe had like an instant replay rule or something in place, because if you look at it, you know, the first angle they show, it just looks like he had wrist control and he pulled him into the uppercut. Okay, fine. Then you look at the other angle and you see his hand was stuck and Natividad was actually falling backwards trying to get his hand free. And that's why he got caught off guard with the uppercut. So there's a couple of different ways you go with this. Like, he should have been defending himself while trying to get his hand unstuck, but then like Miles shouldn't have had his fingers inside the glove in the first place. And, you know, maybe he was doing it intentionally. Maybe his hand just got stuck in there and he was like, fuck it, let me just uppercut this guy to get him unstuck. But I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
Dude, I hate seeing that, man. That's one of those things. Dude, I hate when people stick their hands in other people's gloves, man. Like, it's so cheap, dude. Like, oh man, like that's one of the things that irks me, man. Man. Like, dude, like, just play the game, dude. You know, and like it's just so easy to stick your hand in somebody's gloves because, you know, even with the tape down, you know, there's always a little room there. So yeah, dude, that actually makes me very angry, dude. Especially, you know, if Kevin Natividad got hurt worse because of it. Yeah, dude, I hate seeing that. It pissed me off when Tim Kennedy was doing it against Yoel Romero. You know, I hate that, dude. You know, and it's a shame because, you know, it's a highlight knockout for Miles Johns, and now, you know, you got to kind of take credit away from him for that.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because I do like Miles Johns. I liked him on the Contender Series. He was a guy who won a decision on the Contender Series and still made it into the UFC, which is impressive. He was very dominant. And now, you know, he was the first fight on this card. I would imagine after that performance, he'll move up on the card because when they show the highlight, they're never going to show the angle, of course, where you could see the hand in the gloves. They're going to show the other angle where you just see a devastating knockout. So, you know, unfortunate for Natividad. Good for Johns because he's got some extra money in his pocket now, and he'll have that highlight forever. But at least in the eyes of this show, it will be tainted. Yeah, you want to put a bow on this and cover next week real quick? Oh, one more thing, Jeff. I don't know if you caught this on Thursday night. There was a Bellator card. I didn't know what was happening. Somebody texted me and was like, hey, I can't find the Bellator card because I don't have that channel. It was on CBS Sports or something. I was like, there's Bellator tonight? Not only was there Bellator, they were fighting for the vacant middleweight championship, Gegard Mousasi and Douglas Lima. And I was like, this is an amazing fight. Why do I not even know this is happening? Did you know about this, Jeff?
I did not, Bill. If I had I known, I would have tuned in, and watched the ESPN fights later. Man, dude, I love Gegard Mousasi, and Lima's a great fighter too. That's an awesome main event.
Yeah, so Lima was going to be the champ, both welterweight and middleweight, and Mousasi was looking to get his middleweight championship back. I can't remember why it was vacated. I don't know if he lost and then somebody gave it. I don't know. I don't follow Bellator that closely, but this was a good fight. It went pretty much how you would expect it to. Mousasi was just a little bit too big. He had an easy time getting Lima to the ground. And then his top pressure is some of the best in the world. The way he throws his hips in and stacks his opponents on the ground, doesn't even worry about passing guard, just throws strikes like right over their legs. Just brutal. One of the greatest middleweight through heavyweight fighters we've ever seen, Gegard Mousasi. And unfortunately, he's a guy who's probably going to retire without ever getting the credit that he deserves. So at least we could shine him up a little bit here. Let's take a look at next week because we got a fun card here, Jeff. UFC on ESPN 17, Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira, the main event. So this is a fun one. An impressive victory for either guy here, could result in a title fight, although it seems like Israel Adesanya is going to step up and fight Jan Blachowicz. It's the rumor I've been hearing. But maybe the winner of this will get the winner of that. We haven't seen Santos since his loss to John Jones in July of last year, where he tore every ligament in both of his knees and still finished the fight. So it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back from that. And Glover Teixeira, just the old man that you can never count out. He's just tough as nails, and he wins fights he's not supposed to win. Give me your thoughts on this main event here, Jeff.
Bill, I'm excited for this one, dude. Bill, top to bottom, this card actually looks really, really interesting to me. I love Thiago Santos. I've been high on him for a while, mostly because of the Mjolnir tattoo on his chest. But Bill, he backs it up with his hands, dude. Man, and Glover Teixeira, he's like a fine wine. I feel like he's gotten better the older that he's gotten in this light heavyweight division. So I feel like that fight is going to end up in a finish. I think that's going to be an impressive win for whomever wins that fight. And I've been hearing some stuff about Izzy and Jan Blachowicz as well. I certainly hope that Blachowicz gives one of these guys, the winner of this fight, a chance first. But anyway, Bill, I'm loving some of the fights on this card, man. Andrei Arlovsky versus Tanner Boser looks good. Ian Heinisch versus Brandon Allen at middleweight. You have Claudia Gadelha on here, who's always an exciting fighter to watch. Trevin Giles, Max Griffin are on here. Bill, I'm really excited for this card next week, man.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm going to give you my sleeper pick as always, but I want to backtrack here. Arlovsky and Boser is a really fun fight because Arlovsky is one of these guys they keep trying to feed to these younger fighters, and sometimes it works, and then sometimes the old Arlovsky shows up and he just smashes these guys. But Tanner Boser is a guy, he's got a lot of momentum behind him. Co-main event, that's a big deal. They're obviously looking to breed this Canadian for greatness here. He's got 2 wins in a row, first and second round knockouts respectively. Arlovsky, another guy, just one of these grizzled veterans. He's seen it all. You're not going to do anything to Arlovsky in there that he hasn't seen over the last 400 years he's been fighting. He's coming off that unanimous decision victory over Philippe Lenz. So that's a fun co-main event. I like the Claudia Gadelha Xiaonan Yan fight. Darren Elkins and Luis Garagori is going to be a fun fight. But here's my sleeper fight, Jeff. Marcos Rogerio de Lima and Alexander Romanov. So Alexander Romanov making his UFC – no, it's not his UFC debut. He has 1 fight in the UFC. This guy is 12-0, 5 knockouts, 7 submissions. Never been to a decision. And DeLima is a guy who's been around the block. He's got close to 30 fights. He's coming off of a first round knockout over Ben Sassoli in his last fight, but that was back in February. This is going to be a really fun heavyweight matchup, and this is my sleeper pick. Whenever you have a guy who's undefeated, making his UFC debut, not only undefeated, but all his wins are finishes, that's always an exciting thing. And I feel like this is a heavyweight matchup that isn't going to get talked about too much. So that's my sleeper pick for this card. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, Bill, it sounds really exciting. That's a heavyweight bout as well. So, it could end up as a finish for either of these guys. Bill, the more we talk about this, the more excited I am for this card. I wasn't too excited for last night's card. I felt like outside of the main event, there wasn't anything that got the needle going for me. Well, the co-main event was good too, but nothing really stood out to me. But Bill, with this card, it's looking really exciting.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for it. And yeah, there's a lot of fun fights on here, and I don't know what time this one is going to be. Everything's been at some weird times. Yesterday's card was on early, which was nice, but it was also not nice because it was Halloween. I feel like I'm always complaining about how late these cards are on, and then when they're on early, like the perfect time for me, I'm always have something going on. So whatever. But this should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it for sure. I'm going to be hitting the road in about an hour here, Jeff. I'm heading north up to Georgia, making my way to Helen, Georgia, which is up in the mountains. Got a cabin for the week. Gonna kind of shut down, disconnect, spend time with the family, do some hiking, do some outdoor stuff. It's a cool little Bavarian town. So I'm looking forward to continuing Oktoberfest with some German beers up there. Of course, you guys can follow along. I'll post some. I'm going to be disconnecting, but I'll post some stuff on social media so you can see what I'm up to. German beers and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to some good outdoors. I'm looking forward to cold weather, Jeff. I was packing my bag this morning, packing some long sleeve shirts and jeans. I haven't worn jeans in like 9 months. We weren't wearing masks the last time I wore jeans.
Sheesh.
So it's supposed to be like in the 50s and 60s up there during the day, and then like in the 30s at night. So I'm looking forward to this weather. It's the kind of weather I look forward to visiting for a week and then coming back here to my tropical home. But should be fun. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'll be somewhere between here and Georgia when the fights are on. I'll catch them somewhere in a hotel or something along the way, and then probably get a show in next Sunday or at some point. I don't know, Jeff. I don't think that far ahead.
Yeah, Bill. Well, you're leaving in an hour. It sounds like you need to stop yakking and start packing, Bill. Enjoy a brat when you get up there. I love bratwurst.
Yeah. Might have to. The diet might go out the window. The only thing is, Jeff, I don't want to come back with my face bloated before my beard grows back in. That's it. That's the only problem. But I guess it's not a bad problem to have. I'll actually, this will be grown back in probably by the time, by next week's show, I'll have a beard again. Every year for Halloween, the wife she always plans out our costume. She always seems to come up with something that requires me to shave my beard off, like right when it's starting to get cold.
I'm starting to think that's by design, Bill.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe it's just like once a year she wants to see me without it. It's like, I don't know, some weird role-playing thing. But whatever. I go along with it because we have fun. And we had a blast yesterday doing the trick-or-treating. It was awesome to see my daughter actually like know what was going on and being able to trick-or-treat. It was a really cool thing. And she had her costume and stuff. You've seen pictures, I'm sure, Jeff.
Yeah, Bill. I love that you guys have a theme and you stick to it. It was pretty awesome. I especially love last year's. I'm a huge Back to the Future nerd. So that was one of my favorites. But Wreck-It Ralph was good this year. It was up there.
My favorite so far was the first Halloween we did Beetlejuice, where the baby was she was still a baby. She was like 10 months old. She was Beetlejuice, and I was Alec Baldwin, and the wife was Gina Davis. That was one of my favorite ones. Yeah, I had to shave for that one too. Anyway, better get this show on the road so I can get on the road. If you guys want MMA on the Rocks t-shirts and hoodies, again, that's Team Reaper, reaper1.co. The link will be in the show notes as always. If you don't want an MMA on the Rocks shirt, check them out anyway because they do a lot to support local fighters. So, if you're one of these people that's always saying like, oh, fighters need to be paid more. It's like, well, a lot of them are out there hustling, trying to make a little extra money so they can train and eat right and everything like that. So check out the local fighters that are supported by Team Reaper. And they're not just local fighters. Even though Team Reaper is here in St. Pete, they support fighters across the whole country. So go, and they have some really cool t-shirts there. So if you don't want a shirt that says Over the Top and Under the Influence on it, I get it. But then go check it out and support some fighters. All right, Jeff, anything else you want to get off your chest, or are we ready to wrap it up here?
Yeah, I think we can put a ball on it for this week, Bill. So
Cool.
everybody have a great weekend. Make sure you go out there and vote and have a good holiday. Or at least I hope you had one yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I guess Election Day is a holiday too. Oh, and this is set the clocks back. Make sure you check the batteries in your smoke detectors, folks. And that's it. If you guys want to get a hold of Jeff, it's at @animal_Wilson, Twitter and Instagram. You guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks everywhere. Let us know what you guys are thinking and drinking out there. We always love hearing from everybody. That's all we got. Till next time, whenever that is. Cheers, everybody. Goodbye.